Is the economy the #1 issue for the 2012 presidential race, or is it income inequality? In other words, does it bother you more that you're broke or that someone else is not? President Obama thinks he knows the answer. Is he right? I'm PJTV's Scott Ott, joined now by my colleagues Bill Whittle and Stephen Green. Well, here's the moment from last Saturday's GOP presidential debate.
Rick, I'll tell you what. 10,000 bucks? $10,000 bet?
I'm not in the betting business,
Oh,
but
okay.
Now, Bill Whittle, the Democrats and Romney's rivals attacked him for being out of touch like a latter-day Thurston Howell III. If he's the nominee, won't Team Obama rejoice that Republicans have picked the portrait of privilege, the avatar of avarice, the icon of income inequality?
Yes. What do you say? I mean, he's worth $300 million or something. What was he thinking? You know, I mean, what was he thinking? There's two parts to this story. The smaller part of the story is, what was he thinking? Hey, you want to bet 10 grand on it? Come on. I got it in my wallet right now. 10 grand, money on the table. That's just idiotic. But the larger issue is, a much deeper issue is, it shouldn't bother us if a guy like Mitt Romney wants to bet 10 grand, because Mitt Romney's $300 million he made by himself through hard work. Didn't legislate himself the money, and we're victim of this gigantic class warfare. I am utterly convinced that the Occupy Wall Street movement was orchestrated by Van Jones with the strong backing of the Democratic Party, precisely because they think they're going to be facing Mitt Romney. They've prepped the battlefield to make this an us versus them country. And this is a filthy deal that this president is making. This is a filthy, filthy, filthy philosophy, this us versus them, 99% versus 1%. We've seen where this leads in the past. We saw where it led in Germany. We saw where it led in the Soviet Union. We saw where it led in China. And you think I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. It's a filthy, filthy thing for a president of the United States to be doing, and he's going to pay for it one way or another.
Yeah, I guess for Mitt, saying 10,000 bucks was saying, I really don't have much confidence in this bet. I mean, it's like it's like me saying, I bet you a nickel.
You want to bet some real money? Yeah.
On 60 Minutes, that's right. On 60 Minutes this week, Steve Kroft asked the president, right after his Teddy Roosevelt regression speech to progressivism, if all this talk about income inequality won't just confirm fears that the president is a closet socialist.
Everybody's concerned about inequality. Those folks in there who were listening to the speech, those are teachers and small business people and probably some small town bankers who are in there thinking to themselves, how is it that we're working so hard, and meanwhile they know that corporate profits are at a record level, that a lot of folks are doing very well. What's happened to the bargain? What's happened to the American deal that says, you know, we are focused on building a strong middle class?
Now, Stephen Green, first of all, the president's right, isn't he? I mean, the rich are getting richer while the middle class is treading water. Why shouldn't we be angry?
Look, if you want to equalize income, keep going down this path we've been on the last 3 years. When you talk about the working rich, I mean, the small businessmen, you know, the contractor down the street, the guy with the retail or the fast food franchise, those guys have taken an income hit, 30 to 50%, a whole lot of them since the Great Recession began. That's one of the reasons why income tax receipts are down so low. It's been over 3 years since we've had a month in April where we've collected more than we've taken in DC. But you know what? The mega rich aren't hurting. I'm talking about the guys who get stimulus money, the guys who got bailouts, the guys with connections on K Street, on Capitol Hill, the guys with connections in the White House. George Soros is so flush, he can afford to pay $10 an hour to stupid college kids to keep them living in tent cities, preaching even more of the policies that made Soros his billions. It's a racket. We've been had. Even folks like us who told you it was coming. We've all been had.
Well, Bill, it's no accident that the president talks like this. I mean, his handlers clearly believe that the income inequality message really resonates. Are they right, or are they about to lose in a landslide?
First of all, it's not his handlers. It's him. his entire career. If you read his books, if you don't just have it on the shelf to impress everybody with how morally and intellectually advanced you are, if you actually read what he wrote about himself in his own words, he utterly believes this. I have never spent a day in my life worried about what other people made. Not an hour of a day of my life have I been concerned with what other people are doing for themselves. Not 1 hour. Right? I'm concerned about what can I do for myself and my family, and how can I make my life as good as possible by doing the right thing. Well, the right thing for me is working hard. He's utterly wrong about America, and he has put this sense of malaise and envy and this horrible, terrible cloud of resentment over this country. And I believe that it is going to be a blowout for the most defective Republican that seems to be in the field for the last 50 years. I think whoever that horrible, rotten, wretched candidate is still going to blow this guy out of the water, because you cannot do this to this country.
Well, Trifecta is way too short a show for you to fully enjoy Bill Whittle. That's why he makes Afterburner here on PJTV. He also co-hosts Klavan, Whittle, and You, and he's co-founder of DeclarationEntertainment.com. Well, Steve, are the Republicans even interested in countering this income inequality narrative, or do they simply have a different explanation for why it's happening? And what should they be saying?
Well, they ought to be, and that's why I think a lot of people are looking at Newt Gingrich, not because of his policies so much, but because he parries so well. I was just talking about how we've got two kinds of rich. Let's look at Mitt Romney this time. We've got a picture here. He's built this very nice mansion. It's kind of nice, isn't it? Forget his politics. Everybody knows I don't have a dog in this fight. But, Romney made his millions, like Bill said, making other people millions by helping businesses grow and to turn a profit. Now, let's put up Tom Friedman's mansion. He's got an even bigger one. There it is, the house that Tom built. Tom Friedman built a giant mansion from the gains made by making people stupider. You come away from the last page of a Friedman book dumber than you were before you plopped down the $17, and you can't be that bright to plop down the $17. I don't begrudge either man his fortune, but you know what? Tom could only make his in a big government country like ours has become. There's no other way to do it.
Well, Hair of the Dog, the Week in Blogs, Coast to Coast Tea Party, VodkaPundit.com. Stephen Green is a content manufacturing machine. You can follow him on Twitter at VodkaPundit. Well, when asked if he's a closet socialist, our president says everyone's concerned about income inequality. He condemns the greed of the wealthy as he fans the flame of greed among the rest. The president wants you to hate your successful neighbor, even as you seek to plunder his goods. We used to have words to describe this: covetousness and cupidity. It's the root of most sin, novocaine to the soul. It numbs the American spirit. Beware the man who lowers your gaze from the heavens to the pallid hope of mediocrity just beyond your neighbor's fence. In a truly free society, unhampered by government favoritism, no one is concerned about income inequality, but about his own pursuit of happiness. Don't trade in your American dream for Barack Obama's American deal. For Bill Whittle, Stephen Green, and the entire Trifecta crew at PJTV.com, I'm Scott Ott.